In this part, we're going to talk about types of for loops, which they are for in, for of, and for each. Hello everyone, welcome back. In the last part, we have learned about for loop and how to use that in our code. Now, let's talk about other types of for that we have in JavaScript. The first for type that we're going to talk about is for in loop, which if we use this type, we can loop through properties of objects or array. First, let's say here we have some object of car right here, which this has model. Let's say it's charger. After this, we can say this have color. Let's say it's black. And we can have some other things right here. Let's say this is from dot. What we can do with our for in loop is that we can go through this object and use every property of this. So let's say here we have full car variable right here, which is just empty string. Here, if we use our for in, which we use our for keyword right here, and inside of our parentheses, first we use our variable, which is going to be these properties in order in every loop. What I mean is in the first loop, it's going to target this. In the second one, it's going to target this. And in the third one, it's going to target this property. So here, let's create with let keyword right here. We use I right here. And then we use our in keyword right here. And after this, we put the name of our object, which is car right here. And after this, of course, we have our curly braces, and here we can type our code. At the first, let's console log our variable that we created right here, so we can see what is our variable. And now if we run, you can see that our variable is model, color, and company. And pay attention that we have not targeted these items and the values. We only targeted the property, and our variable is this property right here. But if we want to have, for example, this model name here, we need to use our object right here and select the property that we want. And if we use this I right here and run, you can see that here we got this charger black and Dutch. And let's actually make these in order. So now if we run, you can see that we got black dot chart. And as same as this, we can use other things to work. For example, here we have this full car right here. And then we're going to add each value of this into this string. So we're going to have our full car value, which in the first is empty string, and then add the value that we have right here, which here we need to select our object's name, and then here pass the property that we want. And you know the shorthand of this command is to use this plus and equal sign right here. And after this, if we console log our full car variable and run, you can see that we got this black dot charger right here. And pay attention that if we want to have, for example, some additional space between of these, we can use this space, for example, right here. And now if we run, you can see that we have this space and separator in our string. The same for in loop can be used in arrays too. So let's say here we have simple array right here, which contains some numbers, let's say 5, 6, and 7 right here. And here, if we again create our variable, but instead of object, we use our array name right here. And let's say here in our code, we want to print our I variable, which we have in our for loop. If we print that, you can see here, we have only selected the indexes. So this I, if we use in arrays, is going to select index of these items. And as you know, if we want to access the value and not the index, we are going to select our array and pass the index to that. And now if we run, you can see that we got our values. And of course, you can have any code that you like right here. Another thing that we can have that we already talked about is our forEach method, which we have covered that in last parts, but again, I'm going to remind this to you. What forEach method is, we're going to select our array at first right here. Then we use our forEach method that we use methods by putting this dot right here, and then our method's name. And here our forEach method is going to receive function from us. And we can have create function inside of these parentheses itself, or we can create some test function. Let's say here we have our f1 function right here. And here we can create our function of f1 right here and put our code inside of this. But pay attention that our function is going to have value, index, and array parameters receiving. So here we're going to have the first one is our value, the second one is our index, and the third one is our array. And here we can use our array, and instead of I, we use this index right here. And now if we run, you can see again we got our values right here. Or of course you can use this value instead of those one. Again, you get this values right here. Or you can have printing some complex things. Let's say you want to have the word value right here and then of index. And here we add our index to here. And then here we're going to have is. And here we can have our value right here. And now if we run, you can see that we got this value of index 0 is 5, 1 is 6, and 2 is 7. After this, we have another type of for, which is for up. And what this is just as same as our for in, which we create some variable right here. And here instead of n, we use our of keyword right here. And then here we can use our array or other things. The first thing we're going to go on with array, which here again we can have our console log. And here you can see as same as we saw in our for in. Again, this is going to be run, but pay attention that here we are going to get our item's value and not the index in for up. If we use our for in right here and print our I right here, you see that we got the indexes printing because for in is going to select index of these items, but for of, in the other hand, is going to grab the values for us and put them in this I variable. So you can see here we got these items. And pay attention that we cannot use this for of loop for our object. For example, let's say here we have objects of car, which here it has basically model right here. And it's, let's say, M4. And here if we select our car and run, you can see that we got an error, and that is because of type of car, which is object. And for of loop is going to loop through values of an iterable object. And because our car is not iterable, so it's not going to work. But let's say here we have some string instead of text. So let's say here we have simple text, which has some words inside of that. And now if we select our text right here, our I is going to loop through this string, and each loop it's going to be one of these characters inside of our string. So now if we run, as you see, we got this kind of printing because each time it's going to select one character of this string. Please give a like and subscribe to catch next videos.